Welcome to my page. This is my first ever video and I wanted to talk about ABA. I wanted to record this instead of writing out because I think it's faster and it's maybe some of you prefer to listen to it rather than reading the whole chapter on ABA because it's a very sensitive topic. Some people developed anti-ABA attitude. Some autistic individuals were they have stated that they developed stress disorder as a result of it in the later life. ABA, in fact, it aims to teach socially significant skills, and it does that by positive reinforcement, by the law of reinforcement. So ABA is based on positive behavior change. Behaviors that are desirable are rewarded, and those behaviors which are challenging and negative and not beneficial for communicating effectively are punished. It's the word punished, I'm not sure if it's still used because it's a bit alarming when we hear that, but punishment could be like removing the reinforcer. It could be maybe not giving the child whatever he desired in a way because maybe he hasn't asked for it appropriately. So there are ways how to make sure the child understand that it's not socially acceptable, whatever the behavior is. So obviously, research has proved effectiveness of ABA. There are wide research on ABA's effectiveness, and there are some research, not as much as the ones that are approving ABA, but there are still research which talks of about ABA very negatively. And I have looked at one last month, and it was about non-verbal children having ABA as an autistic children with inability to speak was receiving ABA therapy. And the research article was talking about how a non-verbal child would not understand the laws of ABA and what's being done. Then they would just respond, rather just learning to respond in a way that pleases the people around them. But I will talk about that a bit more in a second. I just want to say what ABA does again so we understand. Applied Behaviour Analysis teaches socially significant skills. Alongside that, it tries to reduce the problem behavior. It's accepted as a behavioral science. It aims to increase communication and language and teaches academic skills and attention, improve focus and task analysis. It tries to break the skills down so that the children can follow up the steps and hopefully reach the end result and learn the skills. So it's some of the techniques like prompting strategies and help children whilst they're learning in a way that supports the learning but not takes the whole independence away from them. These are very useful. I did use and I still do use some of the prompting strategies. I use the token board. I would use try not to reinforce the maybe unacceptable behaviors. If the child is shouting, for example, I would not give like almost bribing a child, giving them their desirable object or whatever it is they're looking for when they are engaging in a behavior that is not acceptable. So it does work, but yes, there are controversials around ABA, and I think rightly so, because especially for nonverbal, I don't know how you feel, but if I as a person I don't know what's happening and yet I'm following it, that to me it's not ethically acceptable. For nonverbal children, for example, there are lots of internal sensory needs that they have to engage in. For example, they have to do stimming to be able to regulate their internal processes, and just to feel good with their being, they have to engage in behaviors that might be seen as a challenging behavior or as an unacceptable behavior, well, some of which can be unacceptable, but most stimming behaviors is just like touching a hair or doing maybe some fidgeting with the fingers. So if any ABA program tries to stop those as and when, in order to teach child, say for example writing, and it just intervening during the stimming, it's literally cutting that behavior off when the child needs it. And it's really difficult for that nonverbal child probably to process what is happening. So there, this people that I read, they are very against ABA because of the nonverbal population. And they also say that all these nonverbal autistic children with severe autism and like IQ level below 70 who's going through ABA don't know what's going on. They just respond, they just comply. And you would agree with me, not everyone does their job perfect. So we are not perfect. And when we do ABA, sometimes we might apply it in a way that is not in the best interest of the child. So we have to be careful when we're working with nonverbal children and doing ABA. For the others who can speak and negotiate the terms and talk, ABA can be less intrusive, because some of the children who are able to manipulate the situation and be cheeky, they can actually speak out their emotions, and they might say, I don't like this, or I don't want that, or because I don't want to talk to you, and because I need this, I need that. They can say it, but nonverbal population, they cannot. In some of them, with the developed AEC devices, alternative communication devices, they might be able to say. But I think what I'm trying to take your attention to is the ones who are nonverbal in the autism spectrum and who have a very low IQ, which means intellectually they really are profound learning difficulties they have. So these people I was trying to take your attention to. While you may want to provide ABA for skill acquisition, you need to also think about if your child will be able to understand what's happening towards this learning journey, which they have to take on and continue to engage in so many tasks without understanding the reinforcement. They just learn to comply. So that is a thought for you. And I want to cut the video here. I will listen to it and I will see if I missed out anything. I probably did, but it was my first video and I really am thankful for your time, for your listening. Before I go, I want to say, my page is an honor for you to watch my videos for my lessons, and it's really, and not only an honor, it's also very emotionally rewarding for me to see some of you go and do it at home with your children, wherever you are in the world. When I see that, it's my reward. It's my reward to keep doing what I'm doing as long as God allows me to do so. So thank you for listening.